Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder if we can trust all those scientific findings we read about or hear about? That is a huge question in science today, and this new paper tackles it head-on, asking if a super smart computer program, a large language model or LLM, can actually help us check our science, like a superpowered science detective. Think about it, science builds on itself. If the foundation is a bit shaky, everything built on top might wobble. And checking if a study's results are really there using its own data and code is super important for trust. But here is the big problem that this paper highlights. It takes a ton of time and effort for humans to do these checks. Seriously, we're talking thousands of hours for just one big project. So, most papers just never get independently verified. It is like having a huge library where no one has time to check if all the books are actually what they say they are. So, the researchers had a really cool idea. What if we could use artificial intelligence, specifically these powerful language models that can understand and even run code, to do these checks? They're calling these LLMs agentic because they can actually take action, like downloading files and running programs. They set out to see if these AI agents could perform these incredibly complex and time-consuming reproducibility checks. To test this, they used a massive existing project called SCORE. This project had already spent years and countless hours of human effort checking the reproducibility of hundreds of statistical claims from many social and behavioral science papers. It was like a real-world, human-powered reproducibility challenge. The researchers picked a part of that challenge. Focusing on papers where the original data was publicly available, they narrowed it down to 73 papers with 340 specific statistical claims to test. Now, for the AI side of things, they used a sophisticated LLM called Claude Opus 4.7, equipped with tools that let it browse the web access files and run computer code in languages like R, Stata, and Python. They basically gave this AI the same set of instructions and materials that the human researchers in the SCORE project had, the scientific paper, and any available data or code. The AI's job was a mirror of the human job: find the data, run the analysis steps described in the paper, and see if the results matched. So, the AI went to work, paper by paper. It read the paper, found the data and code, tried to run the analyses, and wrote up its own report on whether it could reproduce the results. A key point here is that the AI had absolutely no idea what the human SCORE researchers had found. It was a completely independent check. They were essentially asking, can this AI get the same answer as the humans, using the same starting point? And here is where it gets really interesting. The results showed an incredible level of agreement. The AI analyst and the human analyst from the SCORE project agreed on a whopping 86% of the statistical claims. That is a huge number when you consider how complex these checks can be. But what about the 14% of claims where they did disagree? That's where the real detective work happened for the researchers. They carefully looked at each of those 47 disagreements. And guess what they found? That in more than half of those disagreements, the SCORE project, the human effort, had actually made an error. The AI in those cases was actually correct. This is pretty mind-blowing. It suggests the AI wasn't just matching the humans. In some instances, it was helping to correct mistakes made by the human researchers. When the AI did make a mistake, it was much less common, only about 9% of the disagreements, or roughly 1% of all the claims tested. They also dug into the specific types of errors the AI made. Some involved skipping computationally intensive steps to save time, like refitting complex statistical models or running long simulations. One error came from not being able to read a graph directly from a paper, needing a human to extract a number. And a couple of errors happened when the AI had to rewrite code designed for software that wasn't available to it. The researchers noted that many of these AI errors could potentially be fixed or worked around with better instructions or access to more tools. And let's not forget the speed. The SCORE project took years and thousands of person-hours. The AI did all of its checks in a single afternoon on a single laptop for a relatively small cost. This is a game changer for the pace of scientific verification. So, what is the big takeaway here? The researchers are saying that these agentic LLMs are remarkably good at finding reproducibility issues. They can perform checks at a human quality level, much faster and cheaper than humans can. This opens up the possibility of large-scale reproducibility checks becoming a reality for journals. For Meta, scientists who study science itself, and for individual researchers wanting to ensure their own work is solid. Now, this doesn't mean we can just hand over all the checking to AI and walk away. The paper acknowledges that human oversight will still be crucial. Just like human spot, checking is important for human-generated reports. But the sheer potential here is enormous. Imagine journals being able to quickly verify the reproducibility of submitted papers, or researchers being able to automatically check their own work thoroughly before submission. It could drastically improve the reliability and trustworthiness of the science we all rely on. This is a really exciting step forward. The study's findings suggest that AI could become an invaluable tool in the scientific process, helping to ensure that the knowledge we build is built on solid, verifiable ground. It makes you wonder what other areas of science these powerful AI agents could revolutionize. So, what do you think about using AI to check science? Are you excited about the possibilities, or do you have some reservations? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to RUBIN'S Mind Lab for more explorations into the fascinating world of research. See you next time.